Hey there. How's it going? My name's Alyssa Cohen. I'm a functional diagnostic health coach, which means I use health coaching and functional lab testing to help get to the root cause of people's symptoms. And I, in particular, help women who struggle with hormonal imbalance, digestive issues, anxiety, depression, fatigue, things like that, irregular periods, fertility. And I help them get to the root cause of their issues and help them learn how to take care of themselves for their whole life. So today I'm going to talk about why our gut health is really important for our mood and our mental health. I think mental health is a huge issue for lots of the society in general. I think that the use of medications that help with our mood, I don't know any stats. I should have known some stats. I don't know any stats, but there's lots of people who struggle with mood issues, anxiety, depression, or even other mental brain health issues like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, autism, ADHD, stuff like that. All of those sorts of things can be linked, at least in part, to our gut health, and we're going to talk about why and what to do about it. So this is actually relevant to me also, in that I used to really struggle with anxiety, depression probably, definitely anxiety, and I mean, not that I'm cool as a cucumber, super non-anxious now, although some people tell me that I am, and I'm like, oh, if you only knew what was going on inside my head, you might think otherwise, but I definitely don't struggle to the degree that I used to, and I don't know that it's even a struggle anymore. I have lots of tools, and I get anxious with normal things that people might get anxious about, and we all have negative self-talk and things like that and whatever. But I remember when I was in college, I saw a therapist for a while. I had trouble opening up to them, and so that wasn't, I don't know that it was that helpful, but I was a mess at that point. There was a whole summer that I cried all summer when I was in between freshman and sophomore year of my college years. I even started taking a Zoloft prescription that was not mine because, hey, you're really sad and depressed, and so maybe Zoloft will help. So, and I actually, on reflecting on my mental health and things like that, I remember when we used to live in Colorado, there was a time when I was so sad and depressed, there were days I didn't work on Wednesdays, so there were days I would sit home from work, I would just sit on the couch and cry, and I remember calling my husband crying and calling my mom crying, and one of the times I started bawling just because our mortgage went up by $100, and I just felt like, oh my god, it's the end of the world, and I just didn't know what to do about it. So, hey Kristen, how's it going? When I think about my mental health and then my health history, once I really started working on cleaning up my diet, changing the way I ate, what I ate, and things like that, my mental health really improved to the point where now, like I said, I'm not anxiety free because, we all have issues with negative self-talk and things like that, but, I generally have control over my emotions. I don't sit on the couch and bawl anymore. I don't struggle with anxiety or depression. I'm sad when I should be sad. I'm not sad when I shouldn't be sad. And actually, now that I think about it, I was prescribed Zoloft and Prozac, back in college, I guess, probably. So, yeah, it's been a big issue for me. But as I cleaned up my health, our gut health really affects our emotional and our mental health because the gut is intimately related to the way that the brain functions. And so we're going to talk about why. So one of the reasons why, and I learned about this more in depth when I went to PaleoFX. I was listening to Dr. Perlmutter, who's like the gluten guy, and he's also like brain health guru guy. But he talked about something called BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. It's like growth hormone for our brain, so it helps our neurons, helps more neurons grow, it helps our brain grow, it helps our brain develop. So it's really important. It helps our brain regenerate also, and so I think that it's a really important hormone, I guess, in terms of brain health. And so we want to do activities that help us increase our BDNF, our brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Something that helps that is butyrate. Butyrate is something that it's found in butter, like butyric acid, which is why organic grass-fed butter can be so great for us, but it's also produced by the fermentation process of the bacteria in our gut. And so by feeding the good bacteria in our gut and nurturing the balance of good bacteria to bad bacteria, getting rid of the bad stuff we don't want there and increasing the good stuff that we do want there, we can help increase butyrate, which helps therefore increase BDNF. So that is one way that our gut health is linked to our brain health. Inflammation in the gut is also closely related to inflammation in the brain. So Alzheimer's, things like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, autism, ADHD, are all linked to inflammation in the brain, and there's been studies that correlate decreasing inflammation in the body to decreasing inflammation in the brain and decreasing the symptoms of those sorts of neurodegenerative diseases. So LPS, lipopolysaccharide, is a chemical that is produced by bad bacteria in our gut. So like parasites and bad bacteria and things like that produce LPS in our gut. And LPS in our gut can lead to inflammation and leaky gut, which then allows that LPS, the lipopolysaccharide, to move into our bloodstream and get up to our brain and cause inflammation in the brain. And so, like I said, there's lots of studies that correlate inflammation in the gut to inflammation in the brain. And finally, another reason why our gut health is linked to our brain health is that, we used to think that things like anxiety and depression were due to not enough serotonin. So we use drugs like Zoloft and Prozac to help decrease the rate at which our body broke serotonin down, essentially, so that there'd be more serotonin available, so that those neurotransmitters in our brain could use the serotonin, which is like a happy hormone, and help make us happier and less depressed. Sorry, the dog is like licking his paws over here. And so that we now know that depression is also, or more strongly, linked to inflammation from things like processed food, sugar in the diet, gluten, dairy, alcohol, things like that, chemicals in our environment. And we also know that 90% of our serotonin is produced in our gut by good gut bacteria. Good gut bacteria can also help increase GABA receptors in the brain. So GABA is another feel-good hormone, or neurotransmitter. So good gut bacteria in our gut equals good neurotransmitter production or receptors in the gut and brain. So, important things. So what do we do about it? How can we help take steps towards improving our gut health so that we can improve our brain health, help ward off things like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, help with autism, and also help with, that everyday, tons of Americans struggle with anxiety and depression and things like that. So the first thing that we want to do is eating probiotic-rich foods. So fermented stuff, sauerkraut, kimchi, miso, kombucha. There's a bazillion things out there, but I can't think of any more right now. Yogurts, like homemade yogurt, like that you ferment yourself, not the like Yoplait yogurt, that's just sugar and grossness. Supplementing with a good probiotic. So I like to use Megaspore probiotic. It's generally tolerated well by many people. People with SIBO, people with autoimmune conditions is the one I use every day. Prescripticist is another good probiotic. So making sure that you're using good probiotics to help increase the good bacteria in your gut. Feeding the good gut bacteria. So prebiotic foods. So we need fiber in order to feed those good gut bacteria, and so foods that are really good at providing that prebiotic fiber are like leeks, garlic, onions, asparagus, jicama, Jerusalem artichoke, things like that. So that is an easy way to start feeding your good gut bacteria. And then also helping reduce inflammation in the body overall. So we can do this by getting rid of inflammatory foods, and so that is generally to me like gluten, dairy, sugar, alcohol, and then certainly you can use some supplements that help decrease inflammation also. Curcumin is a good one, so like the active ingredient in turmeric, or like using turmeric in your food curry. I just made some curry chicken today, so decreasing my inflammation. And then boswellia or frankincense is a good anti-inflammatory. So I use frankincense essential oil most days. It helps decrease inflammation. It helps increase our cellular repair and activity. I, put a few drops under my tongue. If I'm feeling something like a headache or other inflammation in the body, I'll put some drops in a capsule and take that. So that's another great anti-inflammatory. And then, I like to say that, I learned this from Krista Orecchio, actually, that we can't plant flowers in a garbage dump. What do you call that? I don't know. Pile of garbage. I don't know. So we can't just put in good bacteria and expect everything to balance itself out. I think that we need to test to see if there is bad bacteria in our gut that is making us predisposed to bacterial imbalance. So for me it was, I had Giardia and H. pylori and Candida, so I needed to get rid of some of those bad stuff so that the good stuff could take its place and rebalance itself. So we can't just plant flowers and expect flowers to grow. We have to remove all the garbage and clean everything out before we put in the good stuff and expect it to really flourish. So if brain health is something that you struggle with, anxiety, depression, anything like that, I would love to chat with you about it. Talking about how some gut testing might be beneficial for you, or just, 1 or 2 action steps that you can take in your everyday life right now to help move you towards better brain health. Because, anxiety and depression is hard to deal with your whole life, and we don't have to live depressed. Your genetics or, your family might be predisposed to it, but the way that we treat our body and the things that we put in it have a big impact on the way our genetics express themselves. So it doesn't have to be your destiny. So let's chat about it. Let me know in the comments below if what things do you like to do to help increase your gut health? What's your favorite way? Or also, have you struggled with anxiety or depression or depression in the past? And what have you done to help with it? I'd love to hear. And yeah, we'll talk to you next Sunday. Thanks. See you, Kristen. Bye.